and Raymond Aqua. We're here last night. We're back again. And let's go through the numbers very quickly because this is a numbers game. Yeah. The numbers that everybody is going to be hoping to get a huge chunk of is that number.
It is, Evans, 204,144. It means that if you're able to pull some 102,000, you'll be able to emerge victorious. Okay? A little over 102,000, you would emerge victorious. So this is the magic number. And I know that as we move on, you'll probably be getting into the regional breakdown.
Let's do that. Let's do that. This is the regional breakdown.
Exactly, but let's get into something that we have done. So if we were to go to, yes, you look at...
So this is the swing regions.
Okay.
Swing regions when it comes to national elections.
So, but this is the thing for me, the Greater Accra region.
Yeah.
And if we're to go to the Akan-speaking regions, for instance...
This is the Akan-speaking regions.
This is what I'm looking for. Look at this. Now, this is very, very important.
That is 55.5% of the total votes. And I want to isolate that for you because it's so important to look at that. For those who are listening to us on Joy 99.7 FM, follow us. Of course, we are also live across our many social media platforms on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, everywhere. Also, follow us very closely here on the Joy News channel. And I'm going to break this down a bit more because this will give you the picture. And we're saying that this number here, a total of 113,324 delegates are camped in the Akan regions.
In the Akan regions. But let's get back to the Greater Accra region. Let me just do something. I want to show you something. If you were to go through the Greater Accra region today, a lot of the NPP polling station executive and constituency executive are of an Akan background. So, if you add the Greater Accra region, 39,000 to the 113,000, it takes you to 152,000.
Okay, and I'm going back there.
Yes.
If you do the additions here, you say you come down to...
Plus, yes, 39,000. Plus 39,000, it will take you 39,000. Okay, so it takes you to some 152,000. Now, write that number down, and let's see why this is very significant. 152,000 out of 204,000 tells you that you just have about 50,000 votes left. Because I'm saying that if you look at the Greater Accra region, a lot of the people within the Greater Accra, particularly within the old AMA, let me put it that way, old AMA, are of an Akan background who are executives of the NPP. But this is why it's interesting because you've seen some of the candidates actually making arguments of the need to elect an Akan. While others make the point that, it's time to try a northern candidate, and we'll check the northern background, the northern 5 regions of the north shortly.
We'll go there quickly.
There are others who are making the point that, we cannot have a John Mahama, who is a northerner, a Hassan Ayariga, who is a northerner. Of course, he belongs to the APC, not really significant in the scheme of things. But the NPP should remain with what they have been doing all this while, right from Idubuahin, J. Kufuor, and Akufo-Addo.
And yesterday we raised this point, Raymond, which is that this is the opportunity the party has right now to purge itself of this tag of being an Akan party. And if they fail to give it to Dr. Bawumia, and they focus in these areas, and they go out there and vote based on that tribal line, it just settles the debate for the NDC. NDC has been saying that quite a while.
Now, this same issue came up when Ali Mahama was contesting. It became a very big issue. It was perhaps one of the reasons why post-2007, there was an attempt to entrench a certain Dombo legacy within the NPP, with official inclusion by 2009. Let's look at it keenly. The accusation mostly is not coming from internal NPP. It's predominantly from external people that are using it against the NPP. As to whether that has influenced election outcomes in any way, it's a different thing altogether. The dangerous part, and once they just made the addition of the 152,000, this is 74% of the 204,000. Yeah. The numbers we are looking at here.
Yeah.
Unless the 74% say that we also agree that we are an Akan party, and so we need to show proof that we are no longer an Akan party by electing Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. That is part of the issues that's going to bring a very, very big one. internal elections, and I was just last night perusing Ransford Jampo and others who had written a very serious paper about how ethnicity plays a role. In fact, the political science department, there's an entire course on the politics of identity and how it is very important in determining who becomes what within a political party. But if you have 74% of an electorate coming from a certain particular area, give or take, the presumption is that they are more likely to choose one of their own. And it's not only, I mean, people have to introduce whether or not the Akan tag is more a stronger tag than the religious tag, whether or not when you do the give and take, whether or not when you combine the votes. And the question being asked, you remember why Dr. Bawumia spends virtually every month in the Ashanti region, getting blessings from every corner of this world, told everybody in this country that he's a Methodist, he's a Boys Brigade person, he preaches in churches.
He was part of the Methodist Boys Brigade.
Boys Brigade, yes, that's what he keeps on saying, that he's actually part of the Boys Brigade. He has spent time preaching in church, saying that we all admit that Christ is Lord and you come back to save us and all of that. Very important comments to send a signal that I am still the kind of person that the more than 70% Christian population can identify with. But more importantly, mindful of our ethnic orientation as a people, that we have not moved into a nation state, the thinking is that he's a sign which will show a different NPP. But as to whether this different NPP will be different. And now, let's not get it wrong. Since 1992, it was only in 1996 that the NPP departed from having a northern and southern balance.
Yeah.
You get the point? That every time there is a candidate from the 5 regions of the north on their ticket, except in 1996.
And by the way, the vice president has been pretty successful in the lead up to this on the evidence of the electoral special electoral
the super delegates
in making great strides in these Akan areas. Of course, and you saw the votes that he got in the Ashanti region, and they had their own in the race. And yet he obliterated them in the race. Both Alan Chamante himself, Kennedy Agyapong, and the Efia Koto, who indeed draws his own inspiration. His father is very, exactly, in Ashanti region. So clearly, this issue with the Akan regions is not a factor that we expect should hurt Dr. Bawumia's chances in these elections.
The Global Info Analytics indicated something that was interesting. Their very last poll suggested that whilst Dr. Bawumia was not doing so well in the Akan areas, compared to the over 74% that their poll suggested he was getting in the northern part of the country, the indication in the southern part of the country was the opposite of it, and that his votes were not moving as high as people would have expected, mindful of the popularity growth and the very things happening. On the other hand, Agyapong appears to be increasing in very momentous ways the Akan areas where he appears to also be drawing strength from. So it's not as if they are not going to toe that line or they are going to abandon the vice president 100%. But it doesn't appear that he is as popular in the southern part of the country as he is in the northern part.
But that's because Kennedy Agyapong, at a point, started running an ethnic campaign.
Hey, he's done so, yeah.
When it became, and I'm sure his team may have looked at these figures and have said, okay, look, I mean, there are a lot of Akan delegates. So why don't you start?
They play the tribal card, they play the religious card.
He plays the tribal card. But this is the point. I mean, you're talking about the NPC. The NPP bought into the NDC propaganda of being an Akan party. I just would want to make this point before we continue. Because if you realize, the NPP at a point started the Nasara party. The NPP started the Nasara party because of the propaganda that they were anti-Northern and they were anti-Zungu. And the propaganda at the time was that Apollo 69, when Buzia said, if you do not have authorization to be in Ghana, leave, they said that was targeted at a certain group of people.
Operation Cowleg.
You know? So the belief at the time was that the NPP, Buzia, for instance, of the Progress Party, drove away a lot of people of northern descent. Some elements in the NPP at the time had argued that, but we have northerners in this country who were not sacked because they had papers to be in this country. All Buzia said was that if you don't have document to be in Ghana, leave. But it was hurting the NPP. So Alhaji Maiga and Co. started this whole idea of a Nasara club. And having started a Nasara club, the NPP today feels that it is time to clear that propaganda once and for all. And that's the advantage Dr. Bawumia has. Because I have spoken to some key members of the NPP who say, if we don't take a northerner this time, we are doomed. We have the opportunity this time. We didn't give it to Aliu. Let us give it to Bawumia. And so for them, it's just, and this is what the whole thing plays out. For these persons, this is the time to have a northerner as flag bearer of the NPP.
And then, luckily for Dr. Bawumia, as we've been saying since yesterday, he's been doing very, very well, extremely well among the NPP delegates in his home region, but also the 5 regions of the north. And that's what we've isolated on your screens there. And if you look at it, for those of us who are listening to us on radio, you begin to see that the delegate numbers across the 5 regions of the north and as significant compared to, say, the Akan constituencies, which I will show again, because just to do the comparison for you. So these are the 5 regions of the north. In total, we are talking about 35,736 delegates, right?
Under 20%.
And that's, in fact, 17.5%.
And that's less than Greater Accra, of 39,000.
Yes. Yeah. Right? So it's pretty small compared to this. What you have on your screen is the Akan regions, a total of 55.5%. That's 113,324. So, but he's been very good with the northern region, sweeping it at least in the Super Delegates Conference. And you expect him to be dominant here. In fact, he was so dominant, almost all the others got 0-0 in some of the key regions of the north, right? For Agyapong, we'll get 1 here and there. So you expect him to sweep this, close to the 17%. Close to 17%.
You expect him to get about 30,000
of these votes. Of those votes. He will sweep this completely. Now then, it comes to the Akan regions. How much of these votes is he able to get to add to his safe zones in the northern region to cross the mark? And remember, their target is a very high target. They set themselves an 80% target. And we will explain why that is so important and why they're emphasizing that point. And we've said that yesterday. We'll come back to it again. But he needs to make a significant inroad here. At least, you want to at least get 35% of this.
Evans, and you mark the Ashanti region first.
The Ashanti region is here.
Let's do something. Let's do something in the Ashanti region. 35,690. Now, if you're Dr. Bawumia, you want to send a signal. You want to send a signal by winning almost between 80 to 90% of the Ashanti region. And it's for a reason. That's the heart, that's the soul of the NPP. Akufo-Addo won it handsomely in 2014. So if you want to lead the NPP, you should be seen to have the backing of the Ashanti region. He does have the backing of the MPs.
And that's also the area that Mr. Chairman just 2 days ago told us he has recruited 150,000 volunteers.
Where he's still there.
Yes.
And on Thursday, has been campaigning there.
Yes.
Right? And it deliberately so. Just a day before they actually started, dispatching logistics across the country.
So if you're Bawumia, you want to get about between 25 to 30,000 votes in the Ashanti region.
Yeah.
Once you get that, we're done.
Are you guys all confident he can do so? Considering the kinds of the caliber of people from the region he has backing him, right? Both Oseche Mensah-Bonsu, the energy minister, Napo himself, who is a royal widow from the region, the MPs from there, the way they followed him the last time the party congregated in that part of the country. What's your confidence level? And I'll go to the MPP headquarters.
So, as for Oseche Mensah-Bonsu, he's not very popular even in his constituency. But Napo, very popular in his constituency, and very popular in the Ashanti region.
You have the Education Minister?
Education Minister Yahweh Duchum, very popular in his constituency. So he can tilt things in his favor. But this is the thing. Let me just end on this note. This is the thing. In a lot of the constituencies, the polling station executive were selected by the MPs. You have the MPs on your side. You may just...
So that's the point. That's the point about making sure you have your people at that base. And amongst the delegates, the polling station executives form the overwhelming majority of the people who will be queuing to vote today. And that's important. I'm going to take it to the MPP headquarters right now, where my colleague MFR Pau is standing by. There is a lot of activity there already for us, and he's going to join us right now to get a sense of what's happening there. We'll be crossing back to my colleagues in the Ashanti region. We've been talking a lot about that. We'll be going across the country now and getting the feel of what is happening on the ground. MFR, from what I understand, polling is underway.
Amongst that.
And that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. For those of us who know the party and have been campaigning in the party's grassroots since 2004, we know a winner when we see one. And we know a winner with a wide margin when we see one. And we know a winner with a slim margin when we see one. This is going to be a landslide. As I said, minimum vote for Dr. Bawumia will be 70%. Forget the noise that you hear on radio.
Okay. Thank you very much. But please stay with me. Evans, if you've just crossed over to the NPP headquarters, and Mr. Mustafa Hamid, Sheikh Mustafa Hamid, is one of the first persons here to have cast their ballot after Sheikh Damba. And also we have the Deputy Attorney General, Alfred Tuyayaboa. You know by now that 463 persons are expected to cast their ballot here. And there's a lot of action today. I'll tell you about the posters that you were talking about last night. They are all off the walls as we speak. I will talk about all that, but we've been interacting with Sheikh, and you know it's no secret where he stands, but he's been telling me that indeed they are hopeful that Dr. Bawumia is going to get more than 70% of the votes in spite of the polls that we've seen with Info Analytics amongst others. But Sheikh, really, what's the mood in camp for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia? You've been interacting closely with him amongst others. What can you tell us this morning?
Well, I can tell you that there's excitement as you can see. I told you that myself, I got up very early to come here because of the excitement in me. You know, Dr. Bawumia is somebody who is battle scarred as far as elections are concerned. And therefore, he's in very ready mood, if you want, to go into battle. So he really cannot wait for 2 p.m. to come, and for him to be declared winner, and for him to launch straight into the battle for 2024.
Okay. We're grateful. We'll see how it goes at the Ohene Jan Sports Stadium later today. We are grateful for your time. That's the Sheikh Mustafa Hamid. And thankfully, I also have the Deputy Attorney General also here with us, Mr. Alfred Tuyayaboa. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. You are the early birds today. Any particular reason?
Thank you very much, sister. You know, if you are coming to cast a very good vote, you must come early. Cast it, go back and relax. So I just came early to cast my vote. Incidentally, I have to go to Sunyani, so I'm going to catch a flight this morning and then get my home region.
May I know where that vote went to? The early bird vote, where did it go?
The person I voted for is going to win. So by 4 p.m. or by 6, you definitely know where I voted.
That's a very political answer. Is it Dr. Bawumia, Kennedy Agyapong, and Denimo? There are 4 persons.
There are four. So I voted for one. The one I voted for is going to win massively this afternoon. Let's wait and then see.
Okay. But interestingly, Sunyani East, we know there's a situation there. Your fellow constituents there will not be able to vote. What exactly is the resolution to this? You have the opportunity to cast yours. How about the others? What will happen?
Yes, at the Sunyani, there are some legal issues. It started somewhere in January last year. And I think somewhere in May last year, the High Court in Sunyani set aside the album of Sunyani East. So legally speaking, you don't have any delegate in Sunyani East, so that's how come they are not voting. But I'm sure the party will resolve this issue so that moving forward, Sunyani will have its delegates.
I'll allow you to catch the flight. We'll get to interact more much later. Thank you so much. And that's the Deputy Attorney General, Alfred Tuyayaboa, there interacting with us. And he's one of the early birds, like I said, who have been able to cast their vote. William Yamwa is there. We'll get to interact with him. If you can see behind me in your shots, the EC officials were here very early to set up for that voting to start. So out of the 463, I can say that 5 persons already have cast their vote here at the National NPP headquarters. Evans, I was telling you earlier also about the posters, and thankfully Mr. Yamwa is here. I've just been able to, he's walked into my shot, so I've grabbed him. Thank you so much, Mr. Yamwa, for joining us. You have to turn around for me. Okay. I know it's a busy morning for you already, but let's walk through what is expected at the NPP headquarters today.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning to your listeners. This morning we are expecting voting to go on smoothly without issues. And we hope that everybody will turn out. We're going to have 100% turnout because this is a crucial moment for the party and a moment for us to select a candidate or a leader for the party. And everybody is enthused about it. And that's what we are looking for. We're just only praying that there wouldn't be any natural occurrence like rain or something like that to disrupt the process.
Well, for the avoidance of doubt, I know that 463 persons are expected to cast their ballot here, including the President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, amongst others. But amongst the 4 candidates, I know Dr. Bawumia. How about the others? Do we know if Dr. Hussein Fiyakoto, who is a patron, will also be casting his ballot here?
Yes. Honorable Fiyakoto will cast his vote here. He's one of the 15 members of the patrons selected to cast their votes here.
Okay, and we're expecting Adenimo to cast elsewhere, isn't it?
Adenimo, no, he's not. He doesn't fall under any of the categories. Yes.
Okay, so then walk through the process for us for today in terms of the entire event. After this, we know that you're heading to the Ohene Jan Sports Stadium amongst others. Let's walk through the entire process as we have you now.
Okay, thank you. Per the guidelines, by 7 o'clock, all things being equal, across the country, voting should start. After voting, which ends 2 p.m., we will count the votes at the various voting centers and announce the results, after which we transmit the result to the EC regional headquarters for collation. Then we transmit the results to EC headquarters for final collation. Then the EC will declare the results, and we intend doing it at the sports stadium, Accra Sports Stadium, and after which we do the final outdooring of the candidate or so selected.
In your estimation, when is the entire process supposed to come to an end?
Presumably, I'm thinking around 5-6. The whole exercise should come to an end.
Okay. I see that you've been working all night, and amongst others, I've seen that all the posters that prior to today were all on the walls. It looks like they've all disappeared. You've been working hard.
Yes, because part of the guidelines, we don't want to have any aspirant poster, and so we have to ensure that everything is removed, and exactly so we have done that. We don't want to give undue advantage to any individual or aspirant.
Mr. Yamwa, we're grateful for your time. I hope you're not expecting any incidents today amongst others.
That's what we are hoping for. And with your support, the media on our side, I think everything will be fine.
And I hope you treat the media well.
Of course.
Say it on record.
As always.
Okay.
As always.
Thank you so much. That's Mr. Yamwa, his secretary to the Elections Committee, interacting with us here at the NPP headquarters, Evans. So there's a lot of activity already underway here, unlike what we've seen previously, Evans. So this is where we are so far. So Evans, I'm sure that we'll get to talk about security also. We heard the IGP mention that they will produce when it comes to security. And indeed, out there on the streets in front of the NPP headquarters, a number of security, the inner perimeters in here. We came into the media and here at the NPP headquarters. And of course, there have been a lot of tight security when we can talk about, because obviously we are expecting the president and also the vice president, his wife. We are expecting all the National Council of Elders, ministers, amongst others, former executives, amongst others, all here to cast their ballots. So when we talk about the elections, it has already kick-started at the NPP headquarters, Evans.
Last night when we were there around 8 p.m., we still had posters of these aspirants splashed all over the walls. This morning, in fact, it was last night around 9:30 when the Deputy General Secretary was on the show with us. He was telling us that they've cleared the walls of the posters. But an hour before, we were there live when we saw them. You can confirm that the posters have been removed.
I can confirm, Evans, and I'm sure that the election headquarters and all the pressure that you've given the party on this, as at the time that Haruna Mohammed was on the show with you, he mentioned that it had been removed. Most of us doubted that, but that was the first thing I looked out for this morning. There is no poster of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia on the walls. I haven't seen any of Dr. Owusu Yakoto. There was a very huge one right at the entrance, at the security post at the NPP headquarters. I particularly looked out for it this morning. I checked, it's not there. I haven't seen any of Kennedy or Agyapong. Neither have I seen one of Adenimo on the walls, at least on the walls of the NPP headquarters. But you see, just when I looked up, I'm sure Yusuf will pan the camera for you to see. Just when I looked up at the security pole, no, it's the electricity pole, the street light up there. There's one just looking at me, and it's Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. That must have eluded the officials when they were removing it. And this is Vote Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia number 4. Is right up there on the security post, the street light right there. And I'll take more pictures for you to see. I'm sure that must have eluded them, Evans. So one up there is there, still there. Evans.
And I like the point you made about is looking at you. later on, MFA, we would be going to the
It's definitely looking right at me.
It's definitely looking right at you. Give us a sense of, I know you are in the team, you're leading the team on the ground there. We also have a bit more ground to cover, both with the Electoral Commission and also at the Ohenijan Sports Stadium, but with the aspirants themselves. We have embeds with them. Give us a sense of the plan going into today.
Okay, I would not want to give everything away, but I can tell you for sure that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's team, we are in there. We have a team in Dr. Owusu Afriakoto's team as well. We are embedded in there. Ade Nimo will be giving you everything that is happening in his camp as well. Ken Ohini Agyapong, all the way in the Asin Central constituency, we are in his team as well. So when it comes to all the candidates, we've got you covered. This is your election headquarters, and we'll definitely bring you all the updates and everything when it comes to the candidates. At the EC headquarters also, we are bringing you live action until the last ballot is counted by the EC officials right on the ground, and also from the election EC headquarters, I must say. Then all the way to the Ohenijan Sports Stadium for the final declaration and the last speeches until the last seat is folded. Your election headquarters will bring you everything that you need to know. You are missing nothing when you stay with the election headquarters, Evans.
Jumah. MFA, thank you very much. And this is where you want to be, because we have this covered for you across the country. Talking about across the country, and we're talking a lot about the Ashanti region. It's going to be massive in deciding which of these two individuals emerge victorious. And we know he is looking to sweep the Ashanti region and assert his dominance there in the party's stronghold. Wednesday has touched on that. So let's go to the Ashanti region now. Let's go to Nana Yaojima, who is standing by for us this morning. Nana, we are expecting a lot from delegates in the Ashanti region. Have they started voting yet?
Demonstration JHS, and this is where the Menchia South constituency is voting. Now, aside the Menchia South constituency voting here at St. Louis demonstration, we also have the party executives, that's the regional executives of the NPP, joining them to cast their ballots here. Not long ago, the EC cleared the way for the election itself to commence, and as you can see, some of them are already in the queue. I had with me earlier Chairman Wuntumi, that's the NPP Ashanti Region NPP chairman. He wanted to cast his ballot first, so he had to leave me and go through the process. So he just finished casting his ballot. That's Chairman Wuntumi in your shot. He just finished casting his ballots, and he has folded the ballot paper nicely and just placed it in the ballot box. I'm trying to have a conversation with him. Earlier, he told me that he wanted to cast his ballot, and after casting his ballot, he would be here to speak to us. So, Chairman Wuntumi is having some conversation with some party officials, and obviously, as he promised, when he is done, he will have a brief interview with us here on Joy News. Chairman, good morning and welcome to Joy News.
Yes, sir.
So, Chairman, you just went through the process. How was it?
It's okay, very smooth.
So, Ashanti Region is expecting almost 36,000 delegates come into various constituencies and cast their ballots. How are you anticipating this election to go?
Oh, it's going to be peaceful, as you can see. You know, everybody is calm, the security also is here, and also you can see how transparent the EC has started their work. And everybody who know you are a delegate, once you come, your name and everything is there. My constituency chairman in Menchia South, Richard, voted first, and I voted second. You know, so it's done deal. It's done deal. I voted second.
So within the various constituencies, I know that there are a number of people who have queued this morning to vote. What are some of the issues that you've been picking from these constituencies? You have intelligence there. What are the issues?
It's too early, you know.
No, what are the reports that you've been picking from these areas?
At the moment, it's okay. You know, as for instance, here we have a prosy here, and everything. The constituency will have Agyapong, a region will also have Agyapong. We have sent from the national also to the EC. EC doesn't manufacture Agyapongs. You know, the Agyapong started from constituency. Then region will take it. He make a photocopy and keep it, send another one to national, and then the constituency also. So I don't think it's going to. And with serious notes, we know ourselves. It's not like angels are coming to come. We are not expecting any angels or aliens to come. So it's a very simple thing I think we always do. So it's going to be peaceful. And it's going to be peaceful. Nobody is going to do anything. Yes.
Thank you very much. That's the Ashanti Region NPP Chairman Bernard Enchibo-Esiaku, popularly known as Chairman with me. Chairman Richard is also the constituency chairman for the Menchia South, popularly known as Tom Tom. Chairman, it's early days here. Things looks very calm here in the Menchia South constituency. And what are the measures you've put in place to ensure, even though the party is not playing any active role, I know that you've spoken to your delegates even before this election. What are some of the measures put in place to ensure that this place has come as expected?
You know, this family election, you can see that the EC is ready. Voting has started. I mean, we have security in place. You've already spoken to our delegates. So what we are looking for is that at the end of the day, we have a peaceful election.
So, aren't your place part of the places that some people are complaining of their names being missing from the albums?
I mean, that's a report that we've got, but we are here to cross-check from the regional and national and see what we can do.
So, there are some people whose names are missing here.
Yes. I mean, even the proxy, we didn't even get it. As I'm saying, that we're trying to talk to regional and talk to national and see how we can rectify it.
Thank you very much, Chairman. So, as we reported yesterday, there are some constituencies that have challenged with the voter register, the albums. That's what I'm talking about. According to the information that we've been picking on the ground, there are some names of delegates missing in some of the albums. For instance, yesterday the Asokwa constituency was at the EC headquarters in the Ashanti region to get this rectified. Chairman Wontumi also mentioned this challenge. Now, what is being done is that the party is supposed to internally deal with these issues, report it to the appropriate quarters, and if possible, these issues, if they get them rectified, a message will be sent to the EC to add the names of these missing people to the register. Until then, the EC on the grounds, that's within the constituencies, will not allow people who have their names missing in the albums to get their way through or to cast their ballots. So presently, we are here at the Menchia South constituency, and as you can see, things are very calm. Various delegates, they walk from the outside, they walk into the inner perimeter, go through the process, check their names, and walk straight into the ballot area, cast their ballots, and peacefully and calmly, immediately you are done. The information that the police and the EC has given is that immediately you cast your ballot, you make your way out of the area. If you want to observe, you should observe from a distance, but not anywhere within the inner perimeter. The only people who are allowed within the inner perimeter are party agents of the various candidates and people who are accredited to cast their ballots. Immediately you cast your ballot, you walk out. Behind me, or behind these barricades, are policemen. These are the security people. They are the people who have been designated to join the EC and ensure that this election is peaceful and very calm. I can count more than 15 policemen stationed here at the St. Louis demonstration JHS to ensure that the election is very calm here. So as Chairman to me and other party executives mentioned, the album issues are being dealt with at the constituency and the regional level, and if they see that there's a genuine concern, they forward it to the national level for these issues to be dealt with. So this is what is happening here presently at the Louis demonstration. Before we came on air, we touched base with other people or other correspondents within the various constituencies in the Ashanti region. We were earlier at the Oforukum constituency, and things are very calm there. Election was yet to start by the time we were living there. I know that by now that the election within the Oforukum constituency is started, and I can report that things within Oforukum are very calm, just as we are witnessing here at the Menchia South.
Or that it stays that way throughout the day. The last time the party met and had the super delegates conference, there was some violence reported across the country. The party today has said the police will take charge, arrest people and prosecute them. Dampari himself has assured that this is going to be one of the incident-free elections as far as he's concerned. He's deployed the men, and as you can see there, they're doing the job and doing it well so far. Let's go to Bantama, another key area to watch for us in the Ashanti region. As you see him there, my colleague is joining me, Nana Yabwache. Nana, what's the situation where you are? I can see in the queue to your right, as we've been reporting from Nana Jumah, they are queuing to vote. Oh, I can see the queue behind you. This is up and running.
The queue behind me, we're expecting close to 867 delegates to participate in the electoral process here at the Bantama constituency, the constituency of the Minister in charge of Housing, Asin Central. So you can see the delegates have been queuing right here behind me, and the process has started. The first person casted his vote, he has left, and other delegates are queuing to participate in the process. Over 19 polling centers come together to form the Bantama constituency. So we would have 867 delegates participating in this particular electoral process to elect a flag bearer for the New Patriotic Party. The process started not long ago. We have polling agents for various candidates seated right behind me. As you can see, let me paint the picture clearly to you. Polling agents for various candidates are seated. They're monitoring the process, and in no time, we would have numbers. In fact, they're expecting a whole number of people to be trooping in to participate in the exercise from around 8 o'clock, because it started not long ago. And then at exactly 2 p.m., the EC officer here promises that the process will indeed come to an end. Earlier, I painted a picture to you. I sent videos of security men here making sure that the process is smooth and peaceful at the end of it all. As the IGP promised, he would give security, an overdose of security to the New Patriotic Party, and indeed, we have an overdose of security present at the Bantama constituency. The election is currently happening at the Portrait Center at Pataketiase. So, Evans, you can see the number of people here. Over 867 delegates are expected to pass their vote in the Bantama constituency, queuing up quite a long queue, but then each and everybody here in the Bantama constituency would have the chance to cast his vote for his or her preferred candidates, i.e. Dr. Elijah Mahmoud Bawumia, Kennedy Ohini Agyapong, Dr. Free Yakoto, and Francis Adeyemo. So yes, Evans, the electoral process has started. It would end at exactly 2 p.m. and then later in the day, we would know who would lead the NPP to break the 8th come 2024. 867 delegates out of the close to 35,000 delegates who are expected to vote in the Ashanti region will be participating in the process here at the Bantama constituency. The process started at exactly 7 a.m. and it will end at exactly 2 p.m. That is according to the EC officer here. People are in. A number of them are still coming outside the Apataketiase. We have people standing out there, and then security making sure that everything is smooth and peaceful. Quite a number, 867 is quite a number, but then they promise that at the end of the process, each and everybody here would have the chance to cast their vote for their preferred candidate. I can see the CEO of State Housing over there, and he's also joining the queue to also cast his vote for his preferred candidate. So Evans clearly as at 7 a.m. on the dot, we had delegates casting their vote. No delay here at the Bantama constituency, and we are sure, as according to the EC officer, that exactly 2 p.m. we'll have the electoral process coming to an end.
Thank you very much, Nana Boache Yadom, there joining us from Bantama. I want to take you to a constituency that will be of attention, but also of interest to a lot of us here in the Asin Central constituency. You see him in my shot there. We can go and speak to Alfred Amu, who is on the ground for us in the Asin Central constituency. Why is that important, Alfred? Why is Asin Central so important today for us political watchers, and obviously as we bring this coverage to our viewers across the world?
All right, Evans, I think this is very important. I mean, this constituency is very important because Honorable Kennedy Agyapong is one of the aspirants in this presidential race, and his constituency is Asin Central. In fact, he's the current MP here. So everybody is waiting to see what happens at the end of the poll. But Evans, out of the over 18,000 voters expected to vote in the central region, out of that, 511 are expected to vote in the Asin Central constituency. Out of that, 15 of them are electoral area coordinators, 17 are constituency executives, TESCON 2, and then MC 1, then Council of Elders 1. These are the 511 delegates expected to vote here. When you come, in fact, I came here around 5:30, but the Electoral Commission officials came here around a few minutes to 6 o'clock. They set everything up very early, and the delegates also came early. In fact, when you come to Asin Central, the constituency is very big. There were certain polling stations which is very far from Asin Central, with the district capital. So those people started coming in very early. And as we speak, voting just started. People have started voting. And in terms of security, in fact, when you come here, there were a lot of security personnel here making sure that everything is very peaceful. So when you come here, everything is okay. Honorable Kennedy Agyapong, who is an aspirant in this race, is also in town, though he's not yet in the voting center, but he's in town, and we are expecting him to vote today. So when he comes, we will try and have a word with him and see how he's expecting the whole process. So Evans, voting has started. Everything is going on smoothly here. So by 2 p.m., like organizer of the election says, probably everything will come to an end, and we will see what happens at the end of the day.
Expecting that Kennedy Agyapong will be coming there to vote with his entourage?
Sure. In fact, I saw him yesterday in the evening, and I spoke to him. He told me he will be here, though he will be moving around the country, but because he wants to vote, he will be voting here, and after that, he will go to wherever he wants to go and monitor the election. So he will be coming. So we are here waiting for him. When he comes, we will surely get in touch with him and see what he also sees the whole process.
And I'm curious, on the ground there, considering that one of the road is in the race, what has been the reaction? What sort of activity are you seeing? Has he turned the place into his headquarters of a sort, coordinating the national campaign? Because for all of the aspirants, going back to their base is absolutely critical.
Well, I haven't seen like Coalition Center or something here as maybe headquarters for Honorable Ken. I don't know where that particular quarter will be located though, but I haven't seen it yet. But when you come to Asin Fosu, which is the district capital for Asin Central, in fact, when you listen to radio stations, when you go to the marketplaces, people are saying, in fact, this is the first time somebody from Asin is also contesting to this very high office. So you hear people who are deep-rooted in the NDC and other political parties, or, I mean, supporting Honorable Kennedy Agyapong, that they should vote for him and all that. So when you come here, everybody, almost everybody is in support of the candidature of Honorable Kennedy Agyapong. But you get one or two people who have also been able to come out boldly to say that they support the vice president. But those people are not many. When you go to town marketplaces and all other public places, everybody is talking about Honorable Kennedy Agyapong on radio and all other places. So I'm very confident that maybe at the end of the day, I won't be surprised when Honorable Agyapong wins here. Yeah.
And you're also our Central Regional Correspondent. Let's have a regional picture as far as this is concerned. Kennedy Agyapong in the Super Delegates Conference performed really well in the Central region. You've been talking to people, picking up the pulse among delegates in the region generally. Do you get a sense that he will take that performance into today?
Sure, Evans. Probably he will win, but I cannot confidently say that maybe he's going to win overwhelmingly, where maybe the vice president will not get something in the Central region. The vice president will surely get something, but the interviews are conducted with some people in the region. Honorable Kennedy Agyapong is likely to win. What I've discussed with people, especially the delegates from other constituencies, Asin South, Asin North, in fact, you could see people who are constituency executives coming out openly to say that they support Honorable Kennedy Agyapong, which is not quite normal because you see from national to regions, the big wins are supporting. You see them supporting Vice President Bawumia. So getting people like constituency executives who boldly come out confidently to say they support Honorable Kennedy Agyapong means that they work. I've spoken to a lot of them, and I'm very sure that at the end of the day, Honorable Kennedy Agyapong is likely to win the region. But that is not to say that maybe the Vice President will perform poorly in the region. He will get something. But at the end of the day, per the interviews I've conducted so far, the Asin Central MP, Honorable Kennedy Agyapong, is likely to win in the region.
And that is a very important point indeed to consider in that part of the country. And I quickly want to show you Kennedy Agyapong's performance there in the Central region in the Super Delegates Conference, because it is important to look at how you do in your stronghold, in your home base, in your real constituency. And if you look at him there in the Super Delegates Conference on the screen here on the smart wall, he brought in 19 votes in the special Electoral College votes that was held just before we came into today to whittle down the number to 5. And that was important because it's the second highest number of votes that he secured across the country, where if you take away his performance at the headquarters. And the headquarters was important for a lot of reasons. We'll talk about that pretty shortly. But he delivered in his home region.
But he still didn't win. He still didn't win in his home region.
He didn't, because I want to quickly go to the vice president, because the vice president did quite well there as well. Because if you look at the vice president's performance in the Central region here, 25.
Yes, he beat
25. So he beat Kento in his own region, in his home region. And that is very important as we do the battle of your strongholds, battle of your home constituency in this case. That was for the vice president, battle of his home region, right? Whereas he swept, the vice president swept his home region clean.
All votes.
Kennedy Agyapong obviously didn't quite do the same in his home region when it came to head-to-head, the vice president and himself. How much we read into that?
Well, I mean, you can actually make the point that, I beg your pardon, in the Super Delegates Conference, these were constituency chairmen and these were regional executive and these are members of parliament. They're easy to actually identify and say, do this, okay? However, in the main election, you have about 18,000 people, okay, thousands of people going out there to vote. Can you whip all of them in line? The same argument can also be made for the vice president to say, well, if these people voted for the vice president, they may as well vote for him in the main election. But as we've heard the man on the ground say, a lot of people, because Kennedy Agyapong comes from the region, he's been very popular in the region, he's been talking about a lot of things.
And he's been very benevolent
in the region.
Engaged a lot.
It may go for him. It's one of the things you expect from him. But also let me make this point. This is a region I'll be looking at for Asin Central. If he doesn't win convincingly, in fact, it's one of the first results you look out for. If he doesn't win convincingly in Asin Central, forget it. He's done. Because if you cannot win in your own background, in your own backyard, nobody's going to take you. So the very people who know you the most, if they don't vote for you, that's the end of your elections.
You know, that's the conversation we have now about Francis Ada anymore, right? There's the conversation about he not even having the popularity required to engage in his own hometown, which makes it difficult. Then he asks, where is your constituency? Where is the place you draw your strength from? So if he is unable to make that massive impact today in the Central region, because now their excuses are done. You can't claim that because we're super delegates and they are all appointees, perhaps of government in very varied forms, rarely that's why they decided to do so. Now we brought it down to a larger number. This number, it's really supposed to be a number you should be able to control. And let's not forget, he's coordinating campaign there before. He's been very active in the politics of the central region, like he's been in other regions. So if Ken is unable to show proof that this is an area that I can control and that I'm bringing and certifying the central region for you. Because let's not forget, one of the key things Dr. Bawumia has been saying is that, listen, since I came on board, we are improving our chances in Northeast, in the northern regions. Ken should be able to say, it is no longer a swing region because of me. Now we moved it into a stronghold of the NPP permanently. And it should start from this point.
And that point, it's so important. You know, the shots you're seeing there are shots of the MPP headquarters, and we're seeing that activity is building up there. And now we'll get MFR Power to give us context of what we're seeing there. It appears one of the dignitaries is arriving to cast his ballot. We expect that the president will be voting there. I understand it's Kandapa, the National Security Minister, who's just turned up there to vote. We'll be going there live. We'll try and get an interview with him because it's important. Of course, the police is in charge of what is happening, but for him, he's also interested in ensuring that this ends without incident. He's a national security minister after all. But let's go back to the point you're making about Agyapong and his own performance in his region. Both of you have made the point. If you're not performing in your own home constituency, your own home region. But let's ask the question about Agyapong. So now he's elevated from just playing politics at the constituency level to playing politics at the national level. So we now need to hold him to what he does, what his influence does to the party in the central region, considering that it's a swing region. We've made that same argument of Alan Chamante and what he did in analysis we did the time that he was part of the presidential race, what he did for Nanado in Ashanti region, for example. We actually haven't asked that question of Kennedy Agyapong. Is it fair now to be asking that question of him right now that he's put himself out there to want to lead the party, and then asking questions of what is he doing for the MPP in the central region? In fact, in times past, if there is anybody that, and he says that a lot, he actually touts that more than any other person I know, that when it comes to... Forgive me, I need to go to Elton Broby right now, who is standing by at the MPP headquarters, having a conversation with Isaac Osei right now. Let's go live.
Of a leader, someone whom you can call your president. You know, and that's it. And I'm very proud to be able to say that I have voted for the man who, in my view, is the best among the lot. And who, in my view, also will be the next president of our country. And who is this person? Dr. Bawumia, of course. There's absolutely no doubt about it. You know, what he has shown, you know, his campaign going, and he has targeted the delegates, while some people are playing to the gallery. But that's their business.
So what makes you so sure that Bawumia is the one who can break the eight for the party?
Because of his own personal attributes. You know, people have tried to stay in Bawumia, but it just won't stick. You know, because of the way he himself has carried himself very well, you know, in the political arena. And I'm very proud, you know, to be able to call him my leader. I'm very happy.
In terms of experience in the party, in terms of governance and everything, you have it all, from ambassador to CEO to member of parliament. And in 2010 you contested the presidential slot of the party. At this stage, for those who are contesting, what should be running through their minds?
Oh, at this stage, you are hoping you will win. But deep down, you know you may not win. And I was quite sure, you know, on that day in 2010, that I was not going to win. And that it was not a contest, actually, because Nana Akufo-Addo was way ahead of all of us. Chematin was second, but he was a distant second. And his victory...
You just put up a face?
No. I mean, you fight a fight, it doesn't work. You get on with your life. Okay. And then you support so I went around the country supporting Nana Akufo-Addo. Okay. But this time, I think that I'm voting for the winner. Last time I voted for myself. Okay. And I was third. But this time I voted for the winner, and I'll be very happy to play any role that he may think fit for me in his campaign, so that he becomes the president of the Republic of Ghana. I'll be very proud to call Dr. Bawumia my president. I don't know about others, but I without any equivocation, will say that Dr. Bawumia is the best candidate.
Thank you very much, Mr. Zeko. The outcome of today's Congress of the NPP. Also, a stalwart of the party, a former member of parliament for Asokwa, former mayor of Kumasi, former deputy minister, and now currently the chief executive officer of Kofi Jumah. You're welcome to join us.
Thank you.
How did it go? It's been a while.
Well, you know, I was a little bit under the weather.
Yes.
But I'm fully recovered.
Yeah.
So
I can see that on you.
Yeah. So I'm back.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you made time to come and exercise your franchise.
Of course. Of course. I need to come and do the right thing.
Is the party? Let me ask. If you're able to tell us who you voted for among the four.
It's possible.
Tell me.
That's it.
You haven't said anything.
It's possible. That's the slang in town. You'll get it later.
So why did you vote for him?
Well, I believe all the four candidates are good. I've known, in fact, I started primary school with Akuto. Ken has been a lifelong friend. I've known, of all of them, I've known Bawumia probably around 2002, since 2002. I know a lot of, I know them. I work very closely with Adenta. In fact, I call him Monye, and he understands what I'm saying. So I know them. They are all very good. They all have something to put on the table. But around this time, I believe Bawumia represents the best opportunity for the NPP. But he will need all of them. And that's why I'm very careful how I choose my words. Right. That he will need all of them. Finally, they are all working together. And I think that we should create the environment for them to be able to work together. So that's my position.
I'm trying to wrap my head around this. What is it that we don't know? That to the extent that we have people like you, former powerful executives of the party, members of parliament, ministers of state, CEOs, executives of the party, openly declaring for Dr. Bawumia. What is it that we don't know that you are not telling us?
I think you know. The guy has been a vice president. He's been a vice presidential candidate several times. I think the third time they won. But he's been a vice presidential candidate. So he's had the opportunity to interact with party people. Whereas I knew him even before he became a household name. Yeah. He's a very good person. He's a great person.
But doesn't that question the fairness of the entire process? What people, influential people like yourself, should be seen to be neutral, but whether throwing always behind one person?
No. I mean, I'm here to vote. If I'm supposed to be neutral, they will tell me don't vote.
In terms of public pronouncements?
No, because of what we've seen about him. He is a good person. He represents the good values of this country. And I think that we need to project it. Yeah.
How is Giwok doing, by the way?
We are back. We are back. We are now even going out into places like the United States. Not just the African market, but the national market. And I think that Giwok has a huge opportunity to be one of the best companies in Ghana. Yeah.
Mr. Kofi Jumah, thank you very much, and it's actually great seeing you.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Kofi Jumah is a former mayor of Kumasi, former MP, currently the chief executive officer of Giwok, and he just spoke to us. And you see, if you are listening and watching, and the people we are speaking to from here, we just spoke to Mr. Isaac Osei, former ambassador, and all of them appears to even campaigning for one candidate, even though the process or the time for campaigning ended. But we are here at the party headquarters and we'll bring you everything that happens here.
Thank you very much. That's Elton there. You can see the activity behind him. The soldiers have arrived also. The president is going to be casting his ballot there. The vice president also at the NPP headquarters. And that explains why you see so much activity when it comes to security on the ground there. We'll go back there once we see a bit more activity on the ground. Elton is still staying with me. And Elton, I can see a lot of soldiers now on the ground. Before we're talking to MFR Pau, we were looking at police officers. This is a significant deployment there. Earlier, we saw a vehicle driving apparently to cast a ballot. We understand the National Security Minister is there now voting. What more do we know? Okay. Elton, if you can hear me, I can see a lot of activity behind you right now, that the soldiers have been deployed in force. Is there an indication that the president will be arriving there pretty shortly, or even Bawumia? But also, we got a sense that the National Security Minister is already on the ground. If you can give us a sense of what more we know about these. Okay, we will get back there and get the clarity. We don't want you to miss anything. The president is going to be voting this morning. We're expecting the vice president to also vote there this morning. Elton, can you hear me all right? Come back in here. We'll be going to the northern region pretty shortly as we sort out the connection to Elton there. A lot of activity happening there at the NPP headquarters. We're having a conversation. We'll go to the northern region shortly because, of course, that's where Bawumia also identifies as his home region. But we're asking a question before we crossed over. That is it time now to be asking the question of Kennedy Agyapong, what he's brought to the table beyond his constituency in the central region?
2021, in January, I did some analysis of the NPP's performance in the central region. So if you look, beg your pardon, if you look at President Akufo-Addo, he won in 19 of those constituencies. But the NPP members of parliament actually had, the parliamentary election had 10 and the NDC had 13. Now you want to ask yourself a lot of questions. And at the time, the suggestion, I mean, based on all the analysis we had done, pointed to the fact that the NPP lost in a lot of the Galamsey areas, a lot of the mining areas, because we were not happy at the time with how the NPP had conducted things. One of the things with the central region, and I mean, is the fact that we know it's a swing region. Okay, we know it's a swing region. So you want to ask yourself, what Kennedy Agyapong is done in the central region. Kennedy Agyapong, yes, has been very, very critical in the central region, but he's one person who touts his credentials as cutting across the country. So he doesn't tell you, he tells you, I supported 17 parliamentary candidates. And these are not candidates in the central region. He supports candidates in other parts of the country. He tells you, I donated over 100 vehicles to the NPP in 2008. And that's not just in the central region, it's in other constituencies. And so, because he's somebody who goes around campaigning for a lot of people in different regions, different constituencies outside the central region, you wouldn't want to attribute the performance of the central region to Kennedy.
But that can be a critique because the party needs him more in the central region, a swing region.
Yeah.
And instructively, the party lost that region when it comes to parliamentary elections in the last one. So if he's going around the country telling people I'm sponsoring candidates elsewhere, but the party, my submission is the party needs you more in the central region than other places. If you can sponsor candidates, you're better off spending that money in a region where you know you hold influence and sway.
I think he suffers from that problem where they look at people who have been instrumental in national campaign and pull them from their regions to do a bigger work. Let me list some of the things he had stated categorically and shared to many people as part of his achievements. Of course, some of these things are very difficult to verify. He talked about he having to donate pickups in the previous elections. 1996, said he donated 15 pickups, 2000, 50 pickups, 2004, 100 pickups, 2008, 245 Tata pickups, 77 Russian trucks. He again said he disbursed $2 million, which enabled the party to embark on the 2008 presidential runoff. Then, listen, he said he also guaranteed for a $2 million loan to one Mr. Bill and an Apoku took from a Chinese person, and moved on to say he single-handedly sponsored NPP for the Tamale Congress after then General Secretary late Sir John issued letters to all regional chairmen stating the NPP's inability to hold the National Congress because of financial challenges. He tracks back to 2016 where it says he paid 120 out of the 240 pickups he purchased from the USA for their party, after the party's failure to clear the remaining 120 within the space that was required. Then he said he had actually sponsored 11 footer used clothing, which were distributed to electorates in the year 2016. This is all coming from, and it's a long list of things that, so he doesn't say, I am concentrating in the central region. In fact, he picks up even northern region MPs, goes to them and says, when Bawumia was not giving you a peswa, no matter how long he's been in power, I was the one sponsoring your campaign.
Yeah.
I came here and distributed money to people, which got you elected. So you are being quite unfair to me even if you are going to support me openly supporting my opponent in this conversation.
But strategy-wise, political strategy-wise, is he better focusing on a region where he calls his base or dissipating the resources across the country? That's the question we are asking. That's what we are trying to drill down.
Let's compare him to the other big boys who are playing
the game. Exactly.
Brian Agyapong in the Eastern region, on the Kwaru Ridge, first and foremost. He has a lot of control now, and today you can never leave Brian Agyapong out of any major political conversation in the Republic of Ghana because he has even MPs, colleague MPs, who say he is the man who helped us into the role. So we are beholden to him, and we are likely to listen to him on that one. Let's also extend to the other areas. This is the same role that Matthew Poku Prempeh is increasingly becoming in the Ashanti region. They are MPs, they are people who are national executives of the NPP today, who are consistently also leading up to him and looking up to him for whichever direction they have to go in the New Patriotic Party. Perhaps if Kennedy Agyapong knew as of 2016, or as of 2012, or as of the date he dates back into the 90s, that this ambition could be next, like the way the Nana and Danko Akufo-Addos were doing, like the way Kofi Jumah, for example, had contested like 5 times.
Yeah.
So he knew right from then that he wanted to do something like this. If Ken knew that was where he wanted to go, he would have perhaps been more calculated in the kind of help he gave out there, showing proof that I control a region and bringing that region to the table for negotiation.
Winston.
And you see, I have said it before. Ken did not know he was going to contest this. He had never planned this or this. But if he had, he wouldn't have done the
You know what? But they've been saying in the party, no, Diagro Nafa.
Well, you could be right there. So, and you see, because of what we're discussing today, it's the reason if you listen to Kennedy Agyapong, he doesn't tell you that I want Central Region for you, so vote for me. He says, I supported the party, so vote for me. I am aware because in 2008...
But is that an effective message?
Well, this is the point. This is the point. It's actually worked on a lot of the delegates because, I don't know whether these things are true or not. What I know is that when it comes to the 2008 one, Raymond, at the 77 Russian tracks, in 2008, I'd gone to see the then Western Regional Minister and Member of Parliament for Pohawasa East at the time. And he was telling me that, Kennedy Agyapong has actually brought some Russian vehicles. I think it was a Lada or something, into the country to support the party in the 2008 general election. And that was when, for the first time, I heard that he had brought these vehicles. And I was told at the time that he was not giving it to, he was not giving it to ministers. So if you were a minister, he wasn't going to give it to your constituency. So I know that he brought those vehicles into town. I don't know the number, but what I know is that he brought those vehicles.
And again, so some of these data that they put out there from his team had also been disputed, specifically the number of cars that he said to have actually provided his roles within the NPP from the Dankwa Buzai's club, and some of them have been disputed. But of course, others also, like you're saying, provide some support or evidence to back the fact that he's been benevolent, especially during elections, to the various MPs across the country.
As a businessman, and Evans, let me make this point before we continue. As a businessman, you want your party to win.
Yeah.
What is it that if you do, your party wins, and then you get to, improve upon your business?
But here's a counter-argument. The counter-argument is the more effective political strategy we've seen over the years is that you start micro, and you dominate the micro, you consolidate your micro, which is your base, you consolidate your base, and then you use that base to then project the national picture.
Or bargain for
No, but the man's dream was not to be president.
But that's the point we are driving at right now. That he's Odiagronafa, fine.
Yes,
but you still need to go back to, has he consolidated that base? Especially because that base is a central region, where it has proven to be a swing over the years, with the exception, of course, of 20.
I am going to make a point.
And that for me, so again, we're going to do a contrast between him and Bawumia shortly, and then we'll cross over to the northern region.
Yeah.
You need to show to people, right? It's about votes. You need to show to people that when I play this game and I play with my base, I get my base to deliver votes.
Yeah.
Right? Because in the end, this whole contest comes down to who can best help us to get the votes.
Exactly.
Right? That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, but
everything else is secondary. Can you deliver me the votes? Okay. So you brought the cars to the national, party. But in your core base, your constituency, and of course the region generally, what have you brought to it to show that because of your influence, Harun Edrisu is a classic example of that in the northern region. His influence there is the reason why, even when he has that friction with John Mahama, he can't be ignored in the allocation of ministerial positions, right? Because you don't mess with that guy when it comes to the northern region because of his influence in the region generally.
But you see,
and he takes that to the table each time. And that's why he's impossible to ignore, right? And my argument is that Kennedy Agyapong, politically, strategically, hasn't nurtured the region enough, hasn't nurtured his own regional base and consolidated enough to bring that to the table to make the argument that I can deliver these numbers to you if I really win this race.
You see,
to the extent where he delivers you the victory in 2024.
Evans, you have made a point that Odi Agronafa, these are your words. I have told you that the man did not, his plan was not to be president. Because if his plan was to be president, he would have done things differently.
Yeah.
Because his plan was not to be president, he didn't do things differently. And so his plan to enhance his business was such that he goes out there to donate to the party.
You made a very important point.
Get people to appreciate that I have supported the party, and because when the party comes into office, you cannot do without me. You cannot ignore me. That has been Kennedy Agyapong's stock in trade. It's always been about business. Business, business, business. Then he realized that...
Not about political strategy.
No.
Not about nurturing your base.
So then he realizes there's a chance he can be president. And then he says, okay, let me throw myself in there. He throws himself in there. NFI. Then all of a sudden, he's in there, and now he's challenging, giving the vice president.
And could run for his money. And let's do the contrast, because I want to cross over to the vice president's home region. Now, in contrast to Kennedy Agyapong, the vice president's home region, he's delivered it. Election on election, when he stepped in, and this is the smart wall analysis. So just watch where he came in 2008, which I'm circling here for you. When he came in the northern region, the NPP was still losing in the northern region.
As in the northeast region.
This is the northeast region.
Yeah.
Northeast region, yes, the northeast region. The NPP was still losing in the north. Of course, I mean, when he came in, there was not northeast region. There was a northern region at the time. So let's put that in context. They were losing there. And the time he came in, the first time he attempted, together with the current president, they got 35% of the votes. NDC got 53% of the votes. But it is important to look at that number in comparison to what had happened before he had stepped into the picture. Because the election before he joined, they were at 32%. So he brought in just about 3 percentage points, right, into the picture right after that. Then he did even more, right, in the next elections in 2012, when he was very vocal again. And people forget, when Bawumia came in, he didn't look like a politician in 2000. Anybody remember that? Mm-hmm. This Bawumia that we've seen current, this manifestation of Bawumia, this current incarnation of him, it was unrecognizable in 2008. He was a quiet, shy politician. Mm-hmm. I say he really matured after the 2012 election. Yeah. And people will remember him more for the election petition in 2013, where he really showed his mettle in. So then he delivers 44.9% of the votes for the party in the 2012 elections, and drags down the NDC in the northeast region to 52.1% there. And remember that this is the time when you had a candidate who also came from that part of the country.
Well, but this is actually the point. And you see, if you look at it critically, in 2012, Dr. Edward Nasigri Mahama did not contest. It was in 2012 that Hassan Ayariga beat him in the primaries and then represented the PNC. And you can see this. However, because in 2016, when Dr. Edward Mahama shows up again, you have, the performance of the NPP now even exceeding the NDC. You can say, so this is the point. While you may want to argue that, okay, at this point in time, Edward Mahama had left, he was not contesting, so Dr. Bawumia may have gained from Edward Mahama's exit. When Edward Mahama shows up again, the NPP increases. And so that would tell you that the NPP at the time had done more work in the northeast region and in the northern parts of the region. This is the point. So, and we've talked about where you come from. I mean, it's part of the reason you select running mates or you choose running mates. You're choosing running mates to actually add up to the presidential candidate. In other jurisdictions, you probably look at, in a lot of the jurisdictions, you look at who can bring you the votes. That's the whole idea. You look at who can bring you the votes. And in Ghana, we look at the ethnic balance, the religious balance, and everything. And so this is it. Even though here you may want to argue because Mahama wasn't there, the next performance may not support this argument. So you can say that it was just a man from a region that was doing well.
In other words, he took the party up when he joined the race in 2008 with 35 points. By his third attempt, he is winning the region.
Yeah.
He's winning the region for the NPP.
Yeah.
And then he didn't stop there. Momentum didn't stop. And most often than not, when you do this kind of thing where you see that intersection where he now narrowly beats the NDC. And it's important, as you made the point, because you had the John Mahama in the race, right? He didn't stop there. He continues the momentum into the 2020 elections. And the 2020 elections is important for many reasons. The party limped over the line. The party, nationally, the party limped over the line in 2020. And yet he still managed, save in his home region, still continuing the momentum from the previous elections and increasing it to 51.4%. And that's the point we're making about Agyapong as opposed to the vice president in terms of, okay, going back to your home region, in this case, home constituency, and of course, by home region, also in central region, and showing to the people that I can deliver you this arrow that I've drawn here that climbs up. Even in an election year where nationally we were limping across the line, I was still delivering the momentum and not slowing down from 49.4% to 51.4%. Let's go to the northern region now. That northern region that existed before they have the split into two, into the northeast and northern region. Let's go there. Because of course, the people there, as Bawumia has shown the special electoral college vote, he sweeps there too. Martina Bugri standing by for us right now. Martina, what's the talk in town, knowing that they believe one of their own is in the race? We just came from the central region where, from what we heard there, people see him, Agyapong, as one of their own, and they're expecting to show up there, the delegates, to represent that when they go into the booth to vote. Is the story the same where you are?
Yes, I would say that it's the same where I am. I am at the Tamale Central constituency where 875 delegates will be voting this morning. The sense I get is that they have one of their own, and so those who are coming in, we have people standing aside and whispering to their ears that, look, we need to give one of our own the opportunity to lead the party come 2024. But we also have very bold people. I saw someone who walks in with another candidate, that's Kennedy Agyapong's T-shirt, which is so unusual because most people who are actually even supporting him are not able to speak openly that they are supporting him. And so for him to walk in boldly in his T-shirt, I heard people say they should tell him to remove the T-shirt, but somebody asked that they allow him to wear his T-shirt. Security, I must say, has been very tight here, where we are not allowed to go closer to the center where the election is taking place. We are told that we stay very far from the perimeter where the voting is taking place. And currently, as we speak, we have the police security led here by the Northern Regional Police Commander and the regional crime officer. They are the people leading the security team at the Jubilee Park, where the Tamale Central is holding its delegate conference.
And Martina, there's a point you made I really want to interrogate a bit more. An individual came to the polling center in a T-shirt identifying himself with another candidate. The party at the press conference held 2 days ago. The party at the press conference held 2 days ago, addressed by the General Secretary, it was emphatic that if you get to the polling station and do that and come campaigning or wearing any T-shirt, you are not only asked to leave, the police must actually intervene and arrest you. How was this handled?
He walked through the entrance where they've been stationed and up to the queue where they are filing to go in and vote. Few people said they should confront him to get him take off the T-shirt. But I think largely they agreed that they should allow him just cast his vote and then leave.
I see. So they allowed him to cast a vote whilst advertising and campaigning, obviously on the premises where they're casting the ballot and wearing the T-shirt of one of the aspirants. They still allowed him to cast his ballot.
He's in the queue as we speak now, so it definitely looks like he's going to cast his vote and then leave.
And we'll be joined shortly by the party's director of the party's director of elections, and we'll put that to him because the party was very explicit that should not happen. It is the reason why this morning at the party's headquarters in Accra, they have removed all posters from there. Last night when we were there, when we were starting election eve, we went there live, the posters were still there. Once we finished, the party went ahead and scraped the place off all posters because the rules are pretty explicit. You cannot get to the polling station and show that you're supporting one candidate or the other. You cannot wear a T-shirt that is branded in the colors or in the image of an aspirant. But he's in the queue casting the ballot, wearing that T-shirt. We'll get some clarity from the party. I want to take you to the Upper West region right now, where Rafiq Salam is joining me right now. We're going to stay in the 5 regions of the north as we talk about Bawumia a bit more. And Rafiq, what's the situation on the ground? Polling is, from what I understand, underway?
Yes, it's been underway for close to 2 hours in the Upper West region, where over 6,000 delegates are expected to cast their ballots. I'm currently at the War Central constituency. The venue is the War Technical Institute, where 1,048 delegates are expected to cast their ballots here. Voting, the process is going on smoothly here. There haven't been any hitch right here. And so you can see that it's very orderly here, and even the policemen or the security men who are in uniform and also some in mostly are on a virtual holiday.
Okay, and virtual holiday indeed. But Rafiq, that's a part of the country where, typically, nothing in terms of incidents. You don't expect to record any incidents there. Are we seeing any key dignitaries on the ground there monitoring the poll for any of the aspirants?
What we saw first was the Upper West Regional Minister who came in the company of the regional chairman of the party, SB Kangbare. But there haven't been any, key persons in talk about national that has been here. The only person has been Mujib Rahman Sanoun, who is one of the aides to the vice president, who came in here and then to cast his ballot. Remember, it's also a polling, one of the polling stations that executed for the Limay electoral area. And so it's peaceful here, and then the police or the security men, they are not leaving anything to chance, but they expect a peaceful outcome of these elections today. So nothing is going on at all. What they have done is that it's done in the open. It's no more at the school's auditorium, but also in an open area where they have two separate election, management committee around, and then so everybody's here, and then things are going on normal and peaceful right here.
What about the Bawumia factor? How is it playing out on the ground?
Yes, I can tell you that though I didn't go into the hearts and minds of the people, but there are few that I have spoken to, including the Upper West Regional Minister and the War Central Constituency Chairman of the NPP, Abdul Hamid Osman. They told me that it's a sure victory for Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And so the delegates that I have spoken to, after they cast their ballots, they told me that they are going in for Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to continue the good work of President Nana Akufo-Addo.
Rafiq, thank you very much. Let's go to the Savannah region right now. Let's bring in Isaac. Nonya, Isaac, polling, is it underway there where you are?
Yes, I'm right here at the capital Savannah region, Damago, where voting has started. A few number of delegates have just arrived so far. We can count 1, 2, 3, about 10 of them who have just cast their vote and left the scene. There's enough police visibility here at the Damago Community Center, where a good number of party people are standing opposite the venue to observe happenings. And also we have all 5 agents of the 5 presidential candidates also lined up right in front of the EC table, observing what is happening.
I mean, are you suggesting that it's only the vice president who has got representatives there on the ground and agents?
No, what I'm saying is that all 5 presidential candidates,
all five of them, okay, have reps there on the ground.
Yes. But our interesting spectacle I just think is that, everything has been set up, vote is going, But I've seen that canopies are being mounted at this point in time. And the rumor I'm picking is that right after the declaration of the results, there will be a party, there will be a jam. I mean, for all party faithfuls, not only delegates.
I see. Well, it's going to be a long night indeed for the delegates there, and they need all the joy they can get after going through this arduous process. But for the delegates, really, hasn't been that arduous. As we've been doing fair delegates and talking to them, they appear to have enjoyed a fair bit of benefits as part of this particular process. I'm going to take a quick break. When I return, we'll focus on the last two in the race. As you see on my screen here, we'll focus a bit on Dr. Freya Koto and how he performed in the last Special Electoral College. And then we'll also focus on the man on your screen there, Francis Adainimo, and his performance also, and what can they bring to the table tonight. When voting ends, counting is done, can they contribute to an upset, moving this into a runoff? That has been used in the phraseology going into this particular election. The possibility of a runoff, is that even possible? These two will have a say as far as that is concerned. We're back with more here on your election headquarters. So live here on your election headquarters, and election headquarters is brought to you by Petrosol, also brought to you by A New Nation. And we are now touching base with our correspondents across the country. Here in the Greater Accra region, we've deployed our correspondents also in some of the key constituencies here in the Greater Accra region. Greater Accra region has the largest number of delegates. We are focusing a bit more here. Carlos Coloni is in the Ablekuma West constituency and is standing by with the Communications Minister, Eslowusu Ekufo. Hello, Carlos.
The president or anyone else for the situation we find ourselves in. He will do the proper analysis to let us know why we are where we are. COVID, Russia, Ukraine, that's why we are where we are. Now with what's happening between the Palestinians and the Israelis, it is likely that it may have an effect on the oil prices. We're watching that closely as well. It's a global economy. One part of the world coughs. We sneeze here and catch a cold here. We can't say we are immune from what's happening out there. What we can do is to take steps that will ensure that our people have a better standard of living. And that's exactly what we're doing. Despite what we're going through, the lights are still on. Salaries are being paid. Workers are going about their normal business. Schools are open. There are no queues at our petrol pumps. That's not the story in other parts of the world. There is no rationing anywhere. In Europe, vegetables are being rationed. So long as you have the money and you can afford it, you can buy whatever quantity of products that you want. That's not the story, even in the developed Germany and the UK, even America. Also, even they give us a hand up are feeling this thing now. What makes us think that we, Ghana, small, happening, middle income, be immune from the ravages that have hit the global economy? But that said, this too shall pass because it is possible.
And by the way, a lot of them are dropping the code. It is possible. Yeah. When we spoke to Isaac Osei, not Isaac Osei, I think it was Kofi Jumah.
Kofi Jumah, yeah.
Who did you vote for? It is possible.
Yeah.
Eslowusu Ekufo. Well, it is possible.
Yeah.
They're telling you one thing, right? If they're asking you to read in between the lines, but we all know when it says it's possible, it is.
Dr.
Bawumia, I mean, of course, I mean, if you're going to be bold to say I voted for this person, you'll be probably saying it is possible. But Eslowusu Ekufo, during the Super Delegates conference, had indicated that she voted for Dr. Bawumia.
Forgive me. Yeah. I want to bring in my colleague, Kwiku Ashanti, who is in the Adenta Medina area for us there, giving us a sense of what's happening on the ground. That is a very important constituency in Adenta and also in Medina, two separate constituencies, always very important to watch. Kwiku, what's happening on the ground where you are? Are you in that? Have you been to Adenta yet?
Yes.
The elephant.
Hello, Kweku. Okay.
Yes, Evans, I've been to Adenta already, where election is going on quite smoothly. 304 delegates are expected to vote, and the process has started quite. It's moving on. Here at Medina as well, the process is unraveling itself with 307 delegates expected to vote in 2 polling stations. In fact, the queues are building up, and the police presence here is very heavy. I've seen almost all the top police officers at the Medina District Command of the Ghana Police Service, all of them here. There's an ambulance on station. There are a number of queues that have already built up, and the police are doing this in a phased way. They have long queues under the trees, and then they bring them in as and when they think there's enough space at the polling station. So if you come to the polling stations yourself, and I'm going to turn my camera so that you can just see that a number of the delegates are now coming in to vote so that the polling stations will not mass up, as it were, for them. But just some of the top things that have happened here is the announcement we heard from the persons who are manning the system, saying that all delegates must go and see the electoral coordinators before they cast their vote. Because when we came here, there were very few people who were willing to actually go to where the polling stations were. Some of them were demanding that they wanted to see the electoral coordinators before they vote, for what we do not know. And for about 30 minutes time, there were calls that were made, frantic calls, I must say. The electoral coordinators for almost all the electoral areas in Medina arrived. And then there was an announcement in the sound system that all delegates can go and see the electoral area coordinators before they can come and cast their votes. And that has been done. And now the delegates are now back again casting their vote. And so if you come here at the Medina polling stations, 2 of them, where 307 delegates are expected to vote, going on quite smoothly. And I must say, the voice on the ground has been that we are voting for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. You know that this is the place that Abubakar Boniface Sadiq, the former member of parliament for the constituency, he comes from here. He has not been here to vote yet. But we know that he was a key member of the Alan campaign. Since Alan left the party, we have not heard so much from him. When I came here, I was looking out for him. I've not seen him come here. Some of the delegates themselves say that they're expecting him to come. They do not know who he's supporting now, or whether or not he's even still with the party. So if you come to Medina and then Adenta, where I went early on, where a total of 600
Oh, goodness me, we're losing him there. And I want to come back quickly into the studio as we begin to wrap up. I have a minute. I have 30 seconds for you on Dr. Friokoto.
He'll be fair.
Okay. Why?
He's not part of the race.
A distant third.
He knows he's not part of the race. As for Dynamo, if I were him, I wouldn't contest.
And I'm showing here what he did in the Special Electoral College. He had 5 in his home region. We're talking about home regions a lot. He had 5 there. You expect to get his lion's share of votes from there, but he's
not part of it.
Okay. And you have 30 seconds on a Dynamo, and that's him there.
Oh, certainly. I mean, of course, he will improve in the performance because of the larger pool that's going to vote in this election. But I'm not so sure why Adamo consistently contests these elections. It's pretty clear that he has no business in there in the first place. But, well, he has a right to do so. And that's why perhaps he's part of the election. Hopefully, Akufo-Addo basically ignored him. But for that position he says he was given.
Unconstitutional position.
Yes, he was basically ignored. Hopefully he's positioning for something different than becoming the leader of the NPP.
Okay, we'll see how they manage to affect the outcome today. Well, the stage is set now. Voting is underway. Samson Ladi Ayenini is taking over right now. He's going to continue with the coverage here on the Joy News channel, also live on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, at the end of the day, we'll be getting a sense of who will be leading the NPP into the 2024 elections. Is it any of the following aspirants, as you will see on your screens?